Adam with Home Theater Forum here. I'm talking with Juan Peralta of Skywalker Sound. So you mixed The Art of Flight in 7.1.
Yes.
Is this one of the first mixes you've done in 7.1?
No. I've worked on Tron Legacy, and that was a 7.1. I'm not sure if I did a film before Tron that was 7.1. But so I've had some experience with 7.1 before.
What does mixing in 7.1 give you as a sound mixer above working with 5.1?
Well, it gives us definitely more flexibility when it comes to placing sounds in the surrounds. Whereas with the 5.1 systems, you only have 2 zones. Now with 7.1, you have 4 zones. So you can make some more creative decisions about sound effects and panning stuff around the room or where you want it to be placed, either on the side wall or directly behind you, or both. So it gives a little more flexibility when it comes to placing stuff behind you and wrapping around the audience a little bit better.
Can you give us some examples of both Tron or The Art of Flight with how you use that back channel?
Oh yeah, I mean on Art of Flight, a lot of the helicopter stuff that we were panning around the room was done using 7.1 and strategically just using either a side wall with the helicopters coming from the side of the screen, and if it's coming from directly behind you, then we have the back surrounds to use on that as well. And in Tron, we used it everywhere, and that movie really called for it, and I think it was a great platform for it with all the visual effects and all the special effects on that, light cycles and light forget the name of it now, but the light ships at the end. I mean, it's a lot of fun panning all that stuff around.
And then what would you say that with the fact that the consumers can get lossless audio at home with formats like Dolby True HD, does that make you have to kind of step up your game when it comes time to doing the mix?
No, that actually makes us very happy. Traditionally, we've been mixing in a 24-bit 48K raw audio files, and every time from that point on, before it went to DVD, there was compression. And before it went to the theater, there was compression. And so the quality was never what we were used to hearing throughout the working on the film part. We work on a film for 2 or 3 months, painstakingly trying to get the mix just right, and then when it comes time to print master it, you have to compress it. And the compression that Dolby Digital provided was actually a very good compression for the time. But now with Dolby True HD, it just makes us even more happier. Now what we're hearing here is exactly what you're going to hear at home on the Blu-ray. Get your 7.1 decoder amplifier going, get the speakers, and it's going to be the closest it's ever been.
What we saw on the theatrical version of Flight movie was a really aggressive mix. Is that the same exact mix that you're using on the Blu-ray?
Yes, it's exactly the same mix, and that's one of the cool things about it. It's an aggressive mix. It's something that the director wanted it to be that way, and in the back of his mind, the film was going to play in these really big auditoriums and really big concert hall settings, and so he was always wanting to push the envelope and try to fill the room. So that's kind of where this mix comes from a little bit. And but I hear that it translates really well to the Blu-ray and the home theater. So
Great. Now you've also done some animated films. Do you approach live action and animated the same way when you're mixing?
Yeah, well, we approach it the same way, but animation is sometimes a little more tedious and a little more involved, where for an animated film, there is no production sound, right? So one of the things that happens when you work on a live action film is that you will have what the microphone picks up on set. You'll have some air, you'll have birds, and you'll have some nice sounds that kind of help you sell the environment that they're in. When it comes to a 3D animated film, there is none of that. All the dialogue is recorded in a studio environment. So trying to convey the space where they are at the moment, either they're outside or inside or in a car and all that, becomes a little more tedious because now we have to create that from scratch. There is no guide track to go from. There's no production guide track to go from or listen to what the car actually sounded like. Okay, so now let's make we can get a sound effect that's close to that sounding that car. Well, we don't have that blueprint anymore. So basically everything has to be recreated from scratch. So it's a little of a more tedious job. I wouldn't say it's a longer job, but that's the difference between the approaches, I think.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, my
Congratulations on an outstanding mix.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.